our creed to break the chains and set us free. Riders on the prairie, wild and free, bows and arrows, Colt 45's decree. No more tyranny, no more lies, under open skies we rise. Fight, fight, fight till we reclaim the night, Cowboys and Indians in the blazing light. Fight, fight, fight till the dawn is near, we'll never live in fear. On the blood moon, we all unite, horse hooves thunder in the night. No longer slaves to the empire's might, strength in numbers, strength in rise. We'll rise. On the blood moon, we unite, horse hooves thunder in the night.
Welcome, my fellow patriots, to another episode of the Cowboys and Indians podcast. I am your host, the Native Patriot, but you can call me Maurice. And with me today, of course, is my co-host, Steve. How
What's
you
up,
doing today,
man?
Steve?
Dude, I'm fabulous. How about you?
I'm doing all right. I've had a busy week. I know that I'm blessed to have a week such as this, where all of a sudden I'm a plumber and an electrician and a logger and also a husband and father and teaching my son how to shoot. It's been very, very busy. How you doing today, Jaron? I hope you're feeling better. I know that you were feeling pretty ill last Thanksgiving, so I'm hoping that you're feeling better. But thank you guys for tuning in. This is the Cowboys and Indians podcast where we are now culturally accepted into each other's hearts and lives. And even though, historically Cowboys and Indians may have not gotten along all the time, we're trying to do our best to further this culture in accepting each other's cultures and actually have a melting pot in today's society, as opposed to this multicultural crap where everybody decides that their culture is their own and nothing can be shared at all, like 2-year-olds. So
Dude, exactly, man. Oh, man. How was your Thanksgiving, dude?
it was good. I had a good time. It was a small Thanksgiving. We didn't host it this year. It's one of the first years, for the last couple of years, we've actually hosted Thanksgiving, and we were able to take it off this year. So
That's good.
Jaron says it took 200 years, but here we go.
That's funny.
Yeah, we got it.
Cool, man. Yeah, mine wasn't too bad. It was pretty nice and quiet, and I don't know. Probably drank a little bit too much, but it's okay. Had the day off the next day, so
I will say that even the liberals or the left-leaning folks who usually come to Thanksgiving, it felt like there was an acceptance of Trump being elected. There wasn't any political talk. There wasn't any fighting back and forth about it. It was just like, it is what it is. Let's enjoy our time here. And it was actually nice. It was really, really nice. So
very, very drastic change from the last 10 years, essentially.
Yeah.
Like since 2015, when you walk down the elevator, it's just been like absolute chaos this entire time.
And I really thought about walking in with a Trump hat or with my MAGA
You didn't do it?
regalia. I didn't do it. No. I just walked in all normal and such. But apparently, not being provocative made it a lot easier for everybody to get along. So
The question is, did you red pill anybody?
I think so.
Possibly.
I think so. I can't tell you who it is, but they're coming around.
It's good.
They definitely are. So it's been a step-by-step process for a long time. So
Yeah, definitely. Man, so much has happened since the last time we spoke too. It's been kind of it almost seems like it's the news cycle is almost speeding up a little bit. Obviously, it was like in a very rapid fashion up until the election, but
Hmm.
with Trump's team that he's bringing on and all of the news that's been popping up the last few days, it just seems like it's starting to ramp up again the closer we get to inauguration day.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest news that I think came out of the weekend was that Donald Trump nominated Kash Patel as the FBI director, which
Yes,
is
sir.
going to be massive.
Yes,
What do you think?
absolutely. Man, so they were stating before Kash Patel, I believe, but I believe before he was got the nod that he had the Senate votes. So I don't know if that like pushed Trump over the edge. And I know he browses X or social media all the time, and there was a big push for Kash Patel because that guy is a trusted person in the circle, and I think he's going to wreak some havoc. So much so that members of the DOJ and FBI, there are reports that some are resigning already. So I don't know. We'll see.
Good.
We'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. MD James says cash only, which was a big hashtag. And then only cash also trended. I think Cat Turd had a really big part in spreading that message and actually helping get that trending. So hats off to you, Cat Turd. Good job for helping him get nominated. I really believe that he had an influence on Trump nominating him, and I guess there's a big push now that X is actually having some
Major political
influence
influence. Yep.
Oh yeah, on what's actually going to happen in this country. There's a lot of people paying attention, including Donald Trump and all of his, maybe not all, but a significant portion of his allies are actually paying attention to X and what the word is,
Yep.
because
So much
they
so
are.
that I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
No,
walk
go
over
ahead.
you. I was just saying so much so that Kash Patel created his first ever X account, which is monumental because he supported Trump. He believes in Trump so much that he only had a Truth Social account, no
Mhm.
Instagram or Facebook, none of this stuff. And for him to make the leap over to X, that's a big thing, very big thing.
Yeah, it's awesome, and I mean, it just shows like, and I mean, meanwhile, there's a whole bunch of liberals leaving X, which I mean, in my
Go ahead.
opinion, is completely fine because it kind of shows exactly who's in the cult and who wants to be isolationists
Yeah.
and remove themselves from any kind of pushback. Because after Biden won and Elon Musk bought X, there was
Mhm.
a flood of patriots and conservatives to X because there was finally a space where we could engage in conversation, because that's what it seems like conservatives wanted for a long. They just want to be part of the conversation. They want to have some kind of influence over the culture, because you look out and you see, I mean, you see
Yeah.
things like Bud Light promoting Dylan Mulvaney, and you see things like Jaguar with their new commercial, which is just, oh my gosh, it is a failure to read the room, but at the same
Yeah.
time, at least we can roast it now, and they can see how ridiculous that
Yeah.
kind of marketing style actually is.
And I would never buy a Jaguar. You know the sole reason? There's a transmission problem.
The
Did you get
trannies
it?
are bad.
um,
Yeah,
but yeah, man.
Jaguar cars definitely have a tranny problem. They've always had that issue with shifting.
Oh man, we're being so punny tonight. I love it. Oh man, yeah, yeah, that was really really good. And I was making post. The last post that Kash Patel made on Truth Social was on Veterans Day. He had the dog tag or whatever, and he hadn't posted anything up from that point until Trump made the announcement. He said, it's the biggest honor of my lifetime type thing. But Cash he's usually a once every 2 to 3 day poster, and it was radio silence. Even so much, I went on Truth and I was like, "At Cash, are you kind of busy, sir?" So he didn't respond, obviously, but yeah, that's what was
You
happening
mean you're not on DM like you're not on that level with him?
with Cash Patel.
Yeah. But you got
I ain't that cool,
300,000
man.
followers. Come on, man.
So that doesn't mean anything, man.
I know
Oh man.
it's I've flaunted my amount of followers once, and it wasn't to like it was because somebody else was saying that they had like a certain amount of followers, and
Hmm.
I was playing video games, and they were like, well, I got this many followers, and he's like, you're just lonely, and I was like, dude, like, come on, I'm a 33-year-old dad, and I we don't need to talk about this, but he insisted.
Yeah.
So I had posted like evidence. They're like, make a post right now, and I had just taken a picture of the Rocket League match that I was playing, and then
Hmm.
I just said like disregard over it. But they were like, oh, that's actually you. Holy cow. Then suddenly their tune changed completely, and they were super nice. But that's the only time I've ever really like flaunted my followers. And I don't even know if that really counts. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's definitely it's an interesting feeling because growing up in a town, and I mean, you're the same exact way. You
Yeah.
grew up in a town of 2,500 people, and then all of a sudden you have I have 160 some odd thousand people following me, and you have 320,000. Just doubling me. It's fine. It's
Uh, See, I'm not like you. I'm not gonna flaunt that.
oh yeah.
I'm just making a little jab at you, bro. But yeah, I don't see it as I think just people enjoy the message and they want to
Yeah.
follow the similarities between people. So, and I've just been fortunate enough to be able to grow as fast as I have. So, truly appreciate everything.
Yeah, oh man, I mean, it's been a really cool journey, and
Mhm.
just the fact that I get to meet you next week, that's going to be a lot of like in
Oh, dude.
person, right? We've been
Yeah.
talking for like a year and a half now.
Yeah,
Yeah, just about a year and a half. Almost every day. It's crazy. That
I know.
I mean, I talk to you more than like my best friends. So,
Because I'm your true bestie.
oh,
And
see, yeah.
you just didn't know it yet.
Hey, it's just a cowboy that, I promise to not scalp you.
Okay.
So, but
Oh
other than
man.
that, I might do some rain dancing and get some rain out there. That would not be good.
No.
That'd be really bad for what the events that we have planned next week. You guys make
No.
sure to tune in next Thursday. Actually, we're
Ooh.
gonna have a show on this Wednesday. We're gonna have a show next
Mhm.
Monday, Wednesday. Actually, we might not have a show next Wednesday. We might have to put it
No.
off until Thursday because I'm
Yeah,
gonna be
I think
traveling.
yeah. Yeah. Well, we do
Mm,
need to discuss what time we're gonna air too. That's something we need to talk
all
off.
day,
Yeah, all day.
all day.
I can't even think of the nomenclature because I don't want to give away what we're doing. So an all day podcast fest. How about that?
With many guests, many good guests.
Mini, mini.
Many, yeah, man, that's gonna be fun. I'm so excited, so excited. Anyways, apart from Kash Patel,
Hmm.
the big news today came out, and this is actually something that I want to take up the majority of the podcast because this has to do with fatherhood, and it has to do with Joe Biden pardoning Hunter Biden for over a decade of crimes. And it's almost pardoning himself in a way too, because if they can't go after Hunter, then they can't really prove that Joe Biden was involved in a lot of this Burisma stuff. Because
Hmm.
in 2014, Hunter joined the board of Burisma, and it just so happens that that's when I think it was January 1st, 2014, is when
16.
the pardon. Say
I
what?
believe it was. No, I'm sorry. It was when he was VP. My fault. Yes, 14. Sorry.
Yeah, and so that's when the pardon starts, and then it ends. Uh, I think like by tomorrow or something. It's
Right.
ridiculous, but all of that he had pardoned, and it's I've seen from the left saying that it makes Joe like a good father or a responsible father in that
Mm,
way by pardoning Hunter.
hmm. Yeah,
In
that's
my
BS.
opinion, it sure seems like Joe failed long before that. Like, if you have to pardon your son for crimes that he committed that you partook in, then you already failed as a father. And
Hmm.
especially, you know, you can't always control drug problems. You can't always control your son or your kids falling into drugs like that. But the horrific addictions that he has and his lifestyle that he lived, that we know is true based on the laptop that the FBI has kept really hush hush. It sure seems like, as a father, Joe Biden has definitely failed. January 1st, 2014 to December 1st, 2024. Okay. All right. Thank you for that, MD James. Thank you.
So one thing I do want to point out is that Hunter Biden can still be subpoenaed, and now he has lost his Fifth Amendment rights from a presidential pardon because, well, essentially anything he discloses from what had happened, he's not going to get he can't get criminally charged for it or any of that stuff because he has that pardon. But he can I think he can be perjured, and he can also be arrested for defying a congressional subpoena, which might be maybe an angle that they're going for, but I'm not 100% sure. But to caveat your point, yes, absolutely. And me as a father, I would never do that for my son. And people are saying, "Oh, well, you're not a good parent." No, I'm actually an excellent parent because one, well, he wouldn't be in that position in the first place, but two, h- how is he going to learn as a person if he doesn't suffer consequences for his actions? This is just daddy stepping in, helicopter parent type stuff. I 100% disagree with it.
Yeah. MD James says, no one is above the law unless your last name is Biden. Now, this is a good point, and this is actually the thumbnail. I don't know if you guys seen the thumbnail of the video, but I spent a little bit of time on that. I was working with Grok to get it right. But it sure seems like there's still an obvious multi-tiered system of justice where we have Daniel Penny, as he walks out, and activists are there chanting guilty, and it's mostly because he's white. That's the most obvious reason. He's white, and the psycho homeless perpetrator who died was black, and the activists consider, I forgot his name. It's not even worth remembering.
Yep.
They considered him the victim and Daniel Penny the aggressor, which is a reverse of reality. But
Correct.
they want to prosecute Daniel Penny because he's white. But for some reason, they'll champion somebody like Hunter Biden and then be like, yeah, well, let's see what all the MAGAs say about Joe pardoning Hunter. And it's just, the worldview that they have is so skewed, and you can tell easily because they will condemn someone like Daniel Penny for being white, but at the same time cheer on Hunter Biden and Joe Biden because they're on their perceived team. And so
Right.
it's obviously just my team versus your team. Rules don't matter. If they proclaim to be on my team, then I'm going to champion them. And if they
Yep.
proclaim in any way, and it's not even like
Mhm.
Daniel Penny has said I'm a staunch conservative and I believe in traditional marriage and that the gays shouldn't get married, and he didn't say any of that stuff. He's just like, I'm a former Marine, and they just assumed that, okay, this guy must be a conservative because one, he's stuck up for other people, for two, he served in the military, and for three, he took action. So,
Yeah.
and also he's white, so he must be a conservative, white supremacist, MAGA extremist Trump supporter that we have to condemn and burn at the stake because obviously he's some kind of a witch. They have no consistency in their worldview. They have no consistency in their conviction. It is strictly about my team versus your team.
Yeah. I mean, that's absolutely correct. Especially when you have these illegals that are getting out on bond and fleeing to other areas, and they're never going to trial. They're trying to make Daniel Penny an example of their self-proclaimed white supremacy. That's what they're trying to do. And people that are smart, they understand exactly what's going on. So I think it's a load of crap. Personally, but
Yeah. And in all reality, we kind of expected this. We kind of knew
Mhm.
exactly what was going to happen, especially after they came out with the charges against Hunter Biden. when we know that they have the laptop and we know a lot of the stuff on the laptop. I mean, there's a whole website dedicated to what's on that
Marco
laptop.
Polo.
Human trafficking. There's pedophilia,
Mhm.
underage sex trafficking, and an insane amount of drugs. The list can go on and on and on, but they didn't
Mhm.
go after him after any of that stuff. No, instead, it almost seemed like they went after him with these charges, which is taxes and gun laws.
Yeah.
And it's like they almost wanted people to, like the right wing, to champion that stuff because it's exactly what the right wing doesn't really believe in. But since it's Hunter Biden, they wanted to show, like, it feels to me like they wanted to show some kind of hypocrisy, because I don't think that Hunter Biden should be charged with any of that shit. But, I mean, for one, unpaid taxes, it's like, yeah, that's a bad thing. You shouldn't do that. But at the same time, a lot of these taxes are bullshit. They just approved another $750 million fucking dollars to Ukraine again right before Trump gets inaugurated. We have 50 days left, and they're still throwing money at Ukraine, which is insane. The amount of money they've given is ridiculous, and they still want us to pay, and they want to prosecute us, use our taxpayer dollars to put people in prison for not paying taxes when they do bullshit like this. Anyway, that's besides the point. It's a whole different tax rant. But the second one was the gun charges, where he lied on his form to get a gun, which you shouldn't even have to ask the government permission. But for some reason, the government gets involved in
That
this.
was a psyop, personally.
Dude, it really feels like it.
Yeah, I think that what they were trying to do, they knew from get-go that Joe was going to pardon Hunter. Let's just cut the bullshit. Like, that's exactly what the end goal was. But I think the charges were made to get conservatives to want to push Hunter Biden to get charged with this stuff, with gun law, the gun crimes. I think it was a psyop, personally, just to get to some conservatives to go outside, have those 2A absolutionists that are like, well, no, I hate Hunter Biden so much that I'm going to go to that side of the argument. I don't know. But
don't do it. All gun laws are infringements.
Correct. So the tax and the gun law stuff, dude, that was just like feeders, because the real crimes were on that laptop, and that's why he pled guilty. They didn't want discovery phase, and they didn't want this to go further and further down the road. So that's why he pled guilty. That's why Mama showed up, which was so stupid, by the way. That Target wearing dress woman. Anyways, that looks like Alice Cooper. But anyways, oh man, I don't even know where the hell I was going with that.
Here we go. He says, fatherhood BS. If he was an actual father, he would help him get better, not use him as a bag man and then pardon him when he gets caught to protect himself and his cronies. You're right. You're 100% right. And this is why we said that he failed as a father long ago, not only because of what's in Ashley Biden's diary, not just because of that, but I mean, wasn't Beau Biden, before he died, he started something about human trafficking, and he wanted to go after human sex traffickers. And
you might have to pull up that. I'm not 100% sure about that.
As far as I know, if I recall correctly, it was a little while before he died. He was starting this project to go after human traffickers, and then he's the first one of the Biden families to die like that. Well, I guess not the first, but yeah, it was awfully sus. So maybe it's a coincidence that he didn't play by the rules, and he was like the good one of the family, and he's also the first kid to die like that. It just seems all a little sus. Yeah. But Hunter Biden played by the rules of Joe, and he was he's absolutely right. He was his bag man. He was being used as a tool in Ukraine for money laundering and other various things as he lived his ridiculous lifestyle. He doesn't even speak Russian, and he doesn't speak their language. He doesn't know anything about oil or nothing like that. But for some reason, he was on the board. I wonder why. But now he's pardoned for it. So yes, Joe Biden as a father failed from the very beginning in in so many different ways that it is incredibly hard to articulate where exactly he went wrong, and it's not even really worth digging into it because he just has a pattern of screwing everything up for his kids. And now that he was the president, he can just pardon and maybe come off in some sort of way like a good father to the left, even though in all reality, he used his kids to get more
Yeah.
money and
Mhm.
he led them down a horrific road where they will never fully mentally recover. They won't live a fulfilled life. I don't care how much money Hunter Biden got, his life, if I could trade his life for mine, I
Mhm.
never would. I live in a double wide trailer. I don't make very much money. But I have a beautiful wife. I have amazing children, and I absolutely love what I do and where I'm going right now. And
Yeah.
everything about my life right now, I believe is good, and it's where it's supposed to be. I've
Yeah.
asked God for guidance so many times, and I believe I'm doing the right thing. So it's difficult to see someone like
Mhm.
Joe Biden being propped up by so many people as a good father.
He's not. One thing I do want to point out, and I made a post about this yesterday. This Joe Biden was deemed incompetent to stand trial. How is he
Hmm.
competent enough to give out pardons? There's way more to this than what I don't believe this for 1 second. Either that's called having your cake and eating it too. Either you're competent enough or you're not. He's not, obviously. But at the end of the day, I'm like really tired of this cyclic behavior of, well, he pardoned that guy, so it's okay for us to do that, and it's like a leapfrog, and it's just like a back and forth. It's like see what you did, look, it's okay for us. What I really want from this Trump presidency is him to drop the absolute hammer. I want I think it would be absolutely amazing that he discovers that the 2020 election was actually stolen and he has irrefutable proof. That way, I don't know constitutionally how that would work, but if there was a proof without a shadow of a doubt that that election was stolen, then Joe Biden's presidency, in my opinion, would be null and void. So everything, every executive order, every law, every pardon would be null and void, in my opinion. I don't know the the semantics behind it, and because it's never happened before, right? So I don't know exactly what would come of that, but I want this to be an actual, just straight up justice to where
Do you
it is. Go ahead.
do you think that that would even be worth going into? In all reality, like that would be
Oh,
like I
oh,
think that that would be cool, but do you think it would be worth it to go after the Bidens? Because Joe Biden himself, he's virtually dead, right? He's not cognitively there, and he's on his way out. And Hunter isn't going to have the influence without Joe. So they're going to fade away. Is it worth going after them? Do you think that this is something that is worth spending our time on when there is such a short amount of time to make drastic changes for this country that it desperately needs for the future, for our children, for everything? Do you think it's actually worth it going after the Bidens in any way, shape, or form, even if it was like something like that, where we could definitively prove the 2020 election was illegitimate? Do you think that it would be worth it?
hang on.
Are you frozen?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh,
Did you
god
did
dang.
you
Fuck. I should have reset my router. Sorry, it's my Starlink recycling. I was like, I heard. Yes, but to
Uh-oh.
answer your question, absolutely. Drop the freaking hammer. Go, dude. How much money have they made off of the American taxpayer dollars, Joe Biden, over the last 50 years? How many times have Joe Biden instructed the DOJ to arrest Donald Trump? How many times have Donald Trump have to have his life almost taken for us to actually do something and change America for good? Like, yes, I hope we spend every single day for Donald Trump's presidency going after these thugs. They all belong behind bars, and to be quite honest, in Guantanamo Bay. because they have all committed treason against the American people, and they absolutely should be investigated.
Truthful Troll says, worth it. People suffered unjustly. Single mom, the dead grandmas, etc. You're right. Yeah. Well, that's good.
Yes.
I don't see any problem with it. Especially since the media is dying, and I guess we're becoming the media now. Right? That's what everybody says on X, says we're the media now. So we're here to bring the news to you guys. There you are. That's the news.
We are the media.
Yeah, even though I know that I'm definitely biased, and it's, if anybody claims to be completely unbiased, I got some questions. Yeah, you know,
For sure. There's no time to straddle the fence anymore, dude. It's either you're with us and the America First movement, or you with these communists. Plain and simple. And if you're the commies, you're my enemy. You're my sworn enemy.
Commies aren't people. They're not real people. They're bodies in corporeal form, but they're not real people. Communists don't count.
No, they don't.
No,
Only when you're stacking them. Man, I'm gonna get totally banned for saying that.
Yo, we need a T-shirt, dude, bro. We need a T-shirt like that.
Oh, yeah.
Communists only count when you're stacking them.
You're stacking them. Oh,
yeah,
dude.
I have a picture like 300, but like, you know, where they stack all the Persians behind them.
Mm-hmm.
Something similar to that. You know, that's actually not a bad idea. I kind of like that idea. So,
man.
So,
all right.
We just need to find a good solid T-shirt company to be able to do this. So everybody's saying do it. Call them Marxists, not communists. No, well, maybe sometimes, but in all reality, communists, socialists, and Marxists, they're all the same. It's more easily digestible as communists, but there are no communists, only Marxists. No, I disagree. I think that there's plenty of communists, because when people proclaim to be socialists, they're actually communists. But I understand. I don't like giving Marx that much credit, even though he wrote the entire, he's just such a shitty person that I think labeling all of the communists as Marxists would just be, I mean, it would give a hint to people who are unaware to be able to study and figure out exactly where these ideas are coming from. But other than that, I don't see a benefit to it.
Yeah. So anyways, yes, this next Trump presidency, drop the hammer, dude. What I mean,
on all of them. All right,
yeah,
cool. I'm down for that.
Like no mercy, no quarter, dude. 100%. People have suffered these last 4 years plus since Bush, since 9/11 happened. And I'm not going down that rabbit hole, but it's we got to get to the bottom of this, and we have to ultimately change America for the good. Oh, where did Maurice go? But anyways, I see a lot of you guys agree with me. We have got to change this fundamentally. We got to tear down the entire system. All 3-letter organizations, 4-letter organizations, whatever. This entire government needs a complete overhaul. And I truly do believe from the bottom of my heart that Trump has the best interests of this country in mind. I mean, he almost gave his life for this country. So in my opinion, that this is where what needs to happen.
True. Daddy's back. Hey,
did you hear me?
Huh?
Did you hear me this entire time?
Yeah, I could.
Oh, you got an earpiece in. Okay, I was like, you said true. I was like, how did you even hear what I was saying?
Yeah, no, I have the earpieces, but my wife came in all concerned about something, so everything's good. Don't worry, guys.
Good? Okay, cool.
My bathroom's not flooding again. Oh, yeah, that was fun.
Little PTSD from that, huh, brother?
Yeah, she was knocking on the door. I was like, at first I couldn't tell if it was my kid or not. So I muted it and I was like, "Is that you?" And she's like, "Oh, it's me." And I was like, "Oh, fuck." It must be something serious, but it's okay. It's all handled. probably.
So, yep. Hopefully.
Yeah, no, we're good. Man, I did want to talk about fatherhood in general tonight.
Mhm.
Now, I know that a lot of the political news will take up a lot of time, but in all reality, like what I just did right there, as a husband and a father, obviously,
Mhm.
I always answer the call, right? I don't think Joe
Mhm.
Biden was ever actually there to answer the call. I don't think there's three main things that I believe a father should be, and that's the protector, provider, and to prepare for what's coming in the future. And in order to prepare, you have to
Mhm.
be able to be informed, you have to have the know-how, and you have to have some idea of what's coming down the road and understand how to counter it in case it does. Obviously, you can't prepare for everything, but you have
Mhm.
to have some kind of understanding of how to navigate this world. So yes, and obviously being a father,
Mhm.
it comes. So Jaron says, a good husband too. That's part of it. That's absolutely part of being a father is being a good husband because statistically, you know how they say how, and I heard this on the internet somewhere, but then it made sense to me. So I don't know if
You
this is
trust
actually
believe everything you
legitimately
hear on the
true,
internet.
but in all reality, uh, all the statistics say in fatherless homes,
Mhm.
the kids will go off and generally speaking be more likely to cause trouble or get themselves into trouble or
It's fair.
go to prison, things like that. But it wasn't specifically the fact that there was no father in the home, it was the well-being of the mother that actually
Wow. Okay.
determines exactly how the kid's going to turn out. Because if the mother is of stable mind and is happy and fulfilled while raising the child, that the child
Mhm.
will actually be better off. And there's a lot that goes into being a husband as opposed to just being a father for your kids, because we've seen a lot of these homes, like in Washington state, we have these laws that are mutilating children through gender affirming care. And a lot of the
Mhm.
times there's a father there, but he's not actually being that husband and father, right? Like the Bible says that the man is the head of his spouse. So he's not leading the household. He's being the beta cuck listening to the
Mm.
uh I think in a lot of scenarios you see this what is it?
Munchausen. Munchausen.
Munchausen syndrome by proxy, where
Mhm.
the mother like gets some kind of dopamine hit and fulfillment from getting sympathy from other people for their sick child, and so they will trans their child and get
Oh
all that
yeah.
attention, and the
Mhm.
the father will just be there in the background as a cuck in a certain way to absorb or to I guess just allow all of that shit to happen. But if you are a good husband and a good father, you should be, and this is something actually Elon Musk regrets.
Yes.
I mean, one of the most saddest tweets that I've ever seen from him was saying that the woke mind virus killed his son. And
Mm.
obviously one of his sons has transitioned to being a woman, and he listened to the
Mhm.
psychologists in saying that uh that his kid was actually that his son was actually a girl. And there is blame on Elon Musk for this, obviously, but you can see how he recognizes the missteps that he took,
Mhm.
and now it's to the point where it's too late, and there's only so much you can do once that clenches a hold of somebody. But as a
But
husband and father, oh
yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna state that this has kind of been the plan for a while with the nuclear family. There's been a systematic breakdown, and you see the men that are not standing up for their families and that protect men are supposed to be the protectors of their domicile. their family, their home, and their possessions. And when these men are not stepping up and being assertive and putting their foot down and saying no, being there, being the protector to take care of your family and their well-being, you have this. If these men aren't doing this, then women are, so they're ultimately their caregivers, right? But what happens when the man is not leading them? They're going to want to take the lead. So this is when, so now they're in a dual role as essentially a provider, a caretaker, and then also as a dominant figure. So that's what all this boils down to, is these men not taking the lead, one with God, stemming down into their family, their foundation of their home, and then branching it out. And we've discussed this multiple times over and over again. This has just been, it's been a long time coming. What how, and we're seeing this propaganda from the mainstream culture and all of this stuff that are wearing down these families. And look at how the children are acting. You got these OnlyFans models. If I had a daughter and she was doing that, there was no way. Like I would. You're going to a mental asylum because you're not showing your butthole to the internet to everybody to make money. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Hey, I got a question for you, Steve. Have
Yes.
you ever had chickens?
No.
All right. Well, I've had a bunch of chickens. One of them being Bartholomew. He was my prize rooster. He was a Brahma, who is probably in Rooster Valhalla right now because he died protecting his flock. But there's an interesting thing. There's an interesting thing that happens when there's no rooster and you just have a bunch of hens. There will be one hen who steps up and acts like a rooster. It can actually grow a kind of wattle, and it will attempt to crow. It is kind of sad, but there will be an attempt by a hen to step up into that role. And nowadays, with men not being, or with men being so feminized and saying you need to voice your emotions and allow all of these things in your household to happen just because everybody has feelings and they're always justified, and you always need to tell your kids that they're right and you're sorry, and all of this. Or I mean, even the saying happy wife, happy life has kind of been misconstrued, because that it a lot of
It's
men
not
will
becoming
say
a
that.
yes man.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's
That's what
there
it's been used as.
to alleviate the pressure off of her. It's, if you step in that dominant role, then a woman will naturally just become a caregiver, because if you're handling, day-to-day tasks or shit around the house, I don't know. I'm just trying to throw some things on the fly right now. But if you're there taking charge and taking the lead as you're commanded to by God, if you're doing that, then everything just kind of naturally falls into place. And then what does that do for your offspring? You have your son that sees you taking charge and leading that family. It's going to grow him and mold him into becoming a leader. So that's how you build your generations. And same thing with females. If you have a daughter, I don't have any daughters. I just have my
I
one
don't
son.
either. I got two boys.
But anyways, if I were to have a daughter, I would expect her to be with my mother, my wife. But you understand what I mean behind that.
Say it again.
Nope. Oh, did I break up?
No, you're good.
Oh man, I was hoping. I was like, oh man, hopefully I had the lag.
Nope, not this time. That came in loud and clear, bud.
Damn. Sorry, y'all. I'm not from Arkansas.
No, but I mean, in all reality, I blame a lot of the fall of society on men, because of how, for one, feminism has pushed men aside and allowed men to believe that it's okay to not be the leader of the household, to not be the leader of their spouse. That's the most key distinction that I have to make there, because when you say that you're the head of the household, right? You file that on your taxes. I'm head of the household, and I'm the man. But it's no, you're head of your spouse, and you know what? Your kids come secondary to the
Yeah.
relationship you have with your wife. Like when I come home, I'll I screw this up every once in a while, but I've been working on doing this properly, which we're all like I'll push my kids aside and my dogs, and I fight through everybody just so I can get to my wife first, because my wife is my first priority. But and then I'll address my kids, I'll give them hugs, I'll pick them up after that, but I need to get to my wife first, because I have to show my kids that yes, I'm the leader, but I also respect my wife. Like, there's so many people who misconstrue the idea of the relationship of me being the leader of my spouse as if it's disrespectful to my wife. And in no way, shape, or form is it that way.
Hmm.
I show her a tremendous amount of respect, because I believe that she has to be that shining star, that bright light for my children to be able to look up to, because she has to be fulfilled. Because that's the only way that I see my kids growing up to be successful human beings, is by making sure that their mother is taken care of. Once she's taken care of, then I'll tend to the kids, and be a dad to them, judge them. I will not be as easy on them as my wife is, because there's a lot of times my wife will, like, even when I'm just playing with my 2-year-old son right now, Raylan, he's adorable, but she'll start freaking out, or he'll like trip and fall, and I'm like, she'll like jump up to go get him, and I'm like, no, 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 just wait, see what he does, and he'll it's great to see, but in all reality, uh, that's whatever. I don't. I wish I knew where I heard that the fulfillment of the mother determines on how successful the children are, because that
Hmm.
made so much sense to me. Because if you're just there as a father, and not being the leader of not only the household, but you're not being the leader of your spouse, then I could see how your kids would trail off and
Yeah.
not be that kind of personality needed to succeed in this world.
Yeah, definitely. And this has been like I know I'm kind of like being a broken record on this, but this has been I guess ingrained in American culture for so long, and they've just been slowly picking it apart, and trying to destroy the foundation of what a family is. That you have so many everyone's angry and depressed because they're not around leaders. They're not around people that they can trust and actually communicate with, and it's just it's very unfortunate. I was lucky enough to grow in a very, I guess, what nowadays is or not nowadays was a traditional family. Non-divorced mother, father. And I think I turned out all right. But there was some cyclic stuff that I did need to change. My family was one that weren't or are not very good communicators. It just took self development and growth. Now I have my son that is able to tell me exactly how he feels, and I can tell him if he's wrong or right in his feelings, but you know he's not sheltered as a person. He's growing and understanding the faults of how I grew up, and being able to translate that over to my son is making him a stronger person. And ultimately, at the end of the day, is what you want to do is you want to make your offspring or your future better than what you have. So even financially, morally, whatever you want to make and mold your children into a better you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, you should absolutely want the best for your kids. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean money. Or that doesn't
Well,
necessarily
yeah, I
mean
was just throwing out different.
vacations or no, no. I agree with your sentiment. I'm just saying in particular, like, because a lot of people believe that you need to have a bunch of money in order to raise children, and I don't think that's true, because
Mm,
I remember being incredibly happy as a child growing up when
right.
my mom spent time with me, and I found out later that we were dirt poor for
Yeah.
a couple years before my stepdad came along. We were like very, 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 very poor and top ramen every day. But my mom was able to make it special and like
Hmm.
it felt like home. I mean, there were times my mom, she was 5'3", and at the time she was like 96 pounds, right?
Wow.
This itty bitty little thing. And
Hmm.
I remember I was 4 or 5 years old, and our car had broken down in the winter, and she took turns carrying either my sister or me in the snow as we walked several miles to my aunt's house in
Hmm.
order to tell her, because there were no cell phones back then, but in order
Right.
to tell them, the situation. And like that kind of strength is it's just good to see. And
Hmm.
it had nothing to do with money at all. We were poor as hell, and there was
Yeah.
hardship, but my mom was able to go through it and make it seem like that's just
Yes.
life. Life sometimes will take you on, but you handle it in stride, you handle it in a certain way, and you're able to overcome it. So I saw that strength from a very, very young age. Although she's this tiny person,
Hmm.
as and then my stepdad came along and changed everything for us. Like we weren't
Right.
rich, but like he built our house, which was absolutely incredible. That I grew up in after that. But parents can show strength and integrity and modesty and teach manners and do all of this stuff without a ton of money. You don't need to have money to raise kids. So I
Yeah.
remember, little side story. My first son's favorite toy growing up, when he was like a little baby, right? All of our family members and we bought a bunch of stupid baby toys for him, and his favorite toy was a empty freaking water bottle. That's what he played with for
Mm.
years. It was ridiculous. And I was like, why do we have all of these toys? He likes to play with this stupid water bottle. That's all he's doing. It's
Yeah.
insane. So for my other son, I'm like, we don't need toys. We'll get him a couple toys, but like that's it.
Mhm.
It's there's so much more that you can teach, and hardships can be a good thing, and are absolutely necessary for kids to be able to go through. So when you say that you want to give them a better life, I think of it in the way that like when you ask God to give you courage, he's not going to
Mhm.
grant you courage. You're not going to wake up the next day with courage in your heart. No, there will be trials that you're going to have to go through and
Well,
face
yes, for sure.
in order to build your own courage. And so when I think of something like that, and then I look at my boys, I'm like, how am I going to make them strong?
Well, yeah, but so I guess it kind of depends on how you grow up, right? So I'm sure I've told you a story about. I come from essentially the same background. My father would eat hard boiled eggs for weeks at a time, just so me
Based.
and my brother. Huh? No, this is out of financial necessity that he did this.
Turns out it was a really good choice.
All right, but growing up and my father explaining that to me, I don't know. Like I'm a person that. Oh man, did I freeze again?
No, you're good. You're good.
Oh, okay.
Came back.
So I think maybe a fault of mine that I'm gonna tell everybody, I guess, is sometimes I'm overly ambitious, and I really struggle with living in the moment, and that is what been one of my things that I've been really trying to work on, the living in the moment and just being content. And I think I've gotten a lot better with that, and it's just a really difficult thing. I'm not sure if it's because that I knew that I didn't grow up with a lot of stuff, so I have to like overcompensate for that. But at the end of the day, I don't. I have a healthy family. I live in a great home on a nice piece of property. I'm good where I'm at in life, and that's what I'm trying to explain to my son because he has all the electronics, like the iPad and the hoverboard and the little board that with the wheels that he can ride on, all that them gadgets or whatever. And me growing up, I didn't have any of that stuff. So he doesn't understand how lucky he has it based on, other you didn't freeze, you just chill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love these comments, man. They catch me off guard. So on the sidebar, we have like comments and we can do like private chat or whatever. And sometimes like these guys come up with such banger comments that I'm just laughing and I got to go switch to another screen because they're so good. But
Yeah. Hey,
um,
and just for the note, really quick, this is carbonated water, but I don't like to advertise specific brands, so I
mm.
put it in a big mug.
But yeah, what I was saying, yeah, just I'm just trying to instill those, just kind of the sense of not contentment so much, well, contentment, but more like value of things and understanding that he's privileged in a sense that there are other people that don't have the things that we have, and I just want him to not grow up to have the expectation that everything is going to be given to him. So I'm just trying to make him earn a lot of the things now that he does have. So
Yeah. Does
anyways,
he do a lot of chores?
yes,
Does he?
he's I'm gonna make him
Just
cut the grass, and he's about to turn 10, so I can't really
okay.
ask him to do. Hey, I need you to go change that half-inch piece of PVC out there, and you got to dig it up too.
Yeah, and it's kind of tough to figure out exactly where that line is and how
Hmm.
much you can expect from them, because I mean obviously, uh, my son just turned 11 this last year, and um, it's just difficult because I feel like I did more when I was a kid, but at the same time, I'm like, I probably exaggerated a lot of the stuff in my mind that, it's like,
Yeah,
oh, back when I was a kid, we had to walk uphill both ways to school. And although I lived on like a mile and a half gravel road and the bus stop was all the way at the end of at that gravel road. So, I mean, in all reality, I was walking in the dark for half the year, like
yeah.
either to or from school in the middle of the woods. And, as a little kid, I was like, it was terrifying at times
Travis
because,
got eaten by the coyotes.
yeah, yep, yeah, you'd hear some, because it's like it was, especially back then, it was so
Mhm.
much more quiet out here. Um, it's gotten a little bit louder over the years, but
Mhm.
yeah, it was. It was, there were just certain things that I did that I just kind of expect from my son, but then he'll like fail to do it, and I'm like, well, I don't know exactly where that standard that I need to hold him to is,
Yeah,
because mine was driven out of necessity, and I did it because I had to, as opposed to like me trying to push something on him just because I had to do it when it's completely not out of necessity for him to do it. So I guess that's kind of a line that I've been trying to figure out,
yeah,
where exactly or how far to go, in order to make him. And yeah, exactly, bears. And there are bears out here. We had last summer, we had our neighbor texted us that there was a bear walking through their back, and we went out
mhm.
and seen it. But yeah, there was a bear, and a black bear, not a grizzly. We don't have as many grizzlies around here. Although Washington State is starting to release grizzly bears into the Cascade because they used to live here, and so we're going to be environmentalists and release fucking grizzly bears back into the wild because they just need to be here for no fucking reason. No, yeah, I don't know. A bunch of hippies think it's a great idea to release grizzly bears back in. So,
Ugh, those damn hippies.
yes.
Yeah, man,
Oh
it's
my gosh.
father is a challenge, man. But
It's a
if you
blessing.
lean, well, obviously a challenge can be a blessing as well.
Hmm.
But I'm just hoping that, and like when I served in the army, the best acronym I've ever learned in my life was actually the Army Core values, and it's leadership, loyalty, duty, respect, honor, integrity, personal courage. And selfless service. Missed the S. Sorry. But anyways, all of those fundamental things can build a man. Being loyal, having selfless service, honor, integrity, personal courage, all of those things make a man what he is. And I'm trying to instill those values to my son. And I have faith. He's good. He's such a great kid. He's such a good communicator. He's fun. He's actually funnier than me. He comes up with some. I'm gonna have to tell you some stuff offline, but he's hilarious, man, and he's a good kid. So I'm just I'm just praying for him because nowadays it's a lot different because I grew up in the '90s, so things were a lot different back then than they are now. So
That's
but
true.
I just feel he's got a good foundation here at home, so just having that foundation built can help, you know, instill those into him, and he can, be fruitful in the
Oh,
outside world.
one of the one of the things that really needs to be instilled too is trying to get them to pursue the good as opposed to pursue what feels good, right? Because the world as of today has a million different ways to tempt you into doing something that feels good, which is a detriment to your long-term benefits.
Mhm,
And maybe trying to instill in them some kind of goals, because I mean, kids in all reality, they don't really have goals. They have very short-term thinking. They can't under they literally cannot understand long-term goals.
mhm.
So I mean, they can say that they do, but there's very, very, very few people in the world who have ever had goals in like the fourth grade that they actually pursued until, they were full blown adults and they actually achieved it. But
Mhm.
in most cases, it's, I mean, our generation is the first generation to try and get our children to navigate this world of temptations. There's always
Fair.
been some kind of temptation, but now it's at your fingertips at any moment, at all times, day or night. You can have anything you want on the screen, and
Right.
nobody knows what it's like to be raised with that, because this is the first time in all of human history that we have had these kinds of temptations
Mhm.
at our
Fair.
fingertips at all times. And especially with how immersive these video games are, or how immersive the entertainment is, or whatever apps you have on your phone. uh it is so
Yeah.
difficult to try and figure out how to instill in a child, hey, the best thing that you can do in your life is to get married and have children, and the way that you do that is to be fruitful and multiply
Yes.
under God. Get married as a man and a woman in a covenant under God. It's
Mhm.
incredible. And once you achieve that, then there's other pursuits that you could have. But in all reality, nobody knows exactly how to do this. And
Mhm.
I enjoyed the conversation tonight in talking a little bit about this, and I feel like we should go into this a little bit more, and kind of
Mhm.
the danger, not tonight, but just kind of the dangers of what we face as parents. This is going to have to be like
Mm.
2 weeks out or something, because
After our
there
event next week, yeah. I
yeah,
think this is that would be a really good topic because I was thinking of a lot of things, how technology could be a double-edged sword, and it just depends on how you utilize it. Because, I mean,
absolutely.
I guess high level version of this would be, yes, there are many temptations that are at your fingertips, but we couldn't do what we're doing today without it. Like me and you being on this podcast and this wasn't a thing in the '90s, being able to live stream a
Yeah.
video and, you know
Well, and also like the way I've said this again and again, is that the only way I know how to lead is to lead by example, right? And
Mm,
it's extremely difficult to try and tell my child, like, I'm on X all the time. Now, not necessarily like when I'm with him directly. I've been trying to kind of roll that back. As you can see, like on the weekends, I
mhm,
rarely post. And there's times throughout the night where I don't post very much, but he knows that I'm on my podcast. He knows that I'm doing this
right,
stuff on X. So
mhm,
by if I'm to lead by example, and trying to limit his want or need for technology, how in the fuck am I supposed to do that if I'm on this stuff all the time? But I like
yeah,
I it's I'm gonna have to figure that
Yeah.
out. I'm in the process of it, man.
All right, man. You're bettering
I'm,
yourself.
yeah, dude. I had a flip phone up until 2018. You know, it seems, I guess that's
Yeah,
6 years ago now, but yeah, I
man.
refused for a long time the technology, and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep a flip phone for as long as I can. And then I got a different job, and I needed GPS, and my flip phone
Mhm.
didn't have GPS, so I got a smartphone for the first time, and it's been
Man,
downhill
dude,
ever since. And now I'm on Twitter, and I got 160,000 followers. Thank you guys, I appreciate that. But
man, is it kind of wrong of me that I wish an EMP would just hit over Nebraska and wipe out every electronic device in this country? Go back, and we have like massive
95% of people would die within a month.
yeah,
Well, and the reason I
dude.
say that
Right
is
on.
is because, I mean, the only reason I say that is because not only would all of our communications fail, but once, like after a week or two, once most people run out of food and water,
Mhm.
most people won't just sit there and die. There will be mass chaos. So yeah, that would be bad. That's a bad thing to do. Don't wish
Okay,
that.
no,
But I
meaning
understand
okay,
like where you're going with that.
okay,
Like
yeah.
like
So essentially, like,
simpler
okay,
times.
nobody would die, but it would just be like, okay, electronics wipe, Netflix is wipe. The things that keep you on your
All the
devices.
demonic evil shit, right?
Yeah, pretty much. That's where I'm going with that. I'm not talking about like mass chaos and all that crap.
Yeah. I mean there's a time we just started the show 1888 or 1883, and man, I mean, we watched the Waltons and things like that, and I always
Mhm.
kind of go back through and think how was life like back then, and how would I have held up, right? How, and it is just so different from what we have today. There's no comparison in history to how to navigate this world, and not only just navigate this world, but to teach little kids how to navigate this world, because with the amount of information at everybody's fingertips, trying to get that it wouldn't have air conditioning. Jesus Christ. Well, I mean, hey, he lives in Vegas, so it is a little hot there, but
Dude, I've
uh
lived in a desert,
yeah, see,
but it was a
that's
stone
why
house though, so it was 70 degrees year round.
oh, okay. Yeah, see, that's a little bit different,
But yeah,
but yeah,
you know
man,
where I'm
it's
going with
it's it's tough, man. It's but I wouldn't trade it for the world. I think that's probably the
that. Yeah.
main the main point that I want to get across to everybody is that I would not trade being a father for
Mm.
the temptations that they have out there of being a wealthy single guy, get like the Andrew Tates of the world, right? Like the ones who are trying to get all of the women just because that's what alpha males do. It's like, okay, well,
Mm.
that's not actually the proper pursuit that I want for my life. I want to, like, one of the goals in my life is to celebrate a 50th anniversary with my wife. I got 45 years to go. So I didn't make it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
I'm
I
looking
dude,
forward to
I
it.
think the next couple of weeks, I think we really should go into modern problems for modern parents.
Yeah,
The
I would.
modern
I would like to do that. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments underneath the video, uh, if that is a good topic to pursue. Because I mean, political stuff is all. It's I like political stuff. It
Mhm.
helps shape this country, and it helps influence a lot of what we see out in the
Definitely.
world.
Mhm.
But there's also the day-to-day lives that we have to get through, and if we don't have those in order, and if we're not pursuing the proper things, then eventually the political stuff will fall apart, regardless of whatever the hell you want. If we
Mhm.
don't have enough citizens that are in a good enough condition to maintain all of the good things that we want to see in society, then then everything will fall apart and the demons will win, or the Democrats. But I repeat myself, they will win, and we will fall as a society. So we should talk about this. I agree. I agree. But please let us know in the comments, you guys. We are going a little bit over today, so if you can, please share this show with family and friends and anybody who you think would enjoy it. And let us know in the comments if there's particular worries. I don't know if you guys are subscribed to me on X. I have so do you, Steve. The subscriber tab where it's a little bit easier to see the comments. You can DM us, me at Law Native Patriot, Steve over there at Steve Loves Ammo on X. Send us a DM about what's your thoughts, or if you do have any concerns about this stuff. I'm not saying that we're going to have all the answers, but it is a good thing to try and navigate this stuff. And I mean, obviously, Steve and I are. Sounds like we're a couple. Obviously, I'm dedicated to being a good father and husband, and I've been doing my best to figure out exactly how to navigate this territory. And so has Steve, and that's why we have, as Cowboys and Indians, found a way to communicate in a way where I'm not trying to scalp him and he's not trying to shoot me. So,
oh man.
So let us know, you guys, please.
Yeah.
Just like I said, send us DM, comment. Anything comments underneath posts are really a hit and miss, because I know that I mean I got half the following that Steve does, and I get a couple thousand a day, which is I can't go through all of them. So send me a DM if you got this particular thing in your mind about the struggles coming ahead, and in the next couple of weeks we will go through this, because this is a really important topic. So
I absolutely agree. I think that would be good for not next week, but the week after, right? Yes.
Yeah. 2 weeks out.
I don't know. The holidays are kind of my days are kind of all jumbling together. My son's birthday party is the weekend after we do the thing in Texas, so it's just like, and then we have a road trip up to upstate New York, and
yeah, I'll be hosting by myself for a couple days. How about that? It'll just be Indians, and Cowboy will be missing. He'll be on a road trip.
Yeah, what we could do, man. I could jump on. I would just jump on my phone.
That'll
It might look a little different. Might have some snow in the background, or well, it depends on what day. No, I might be in by the Great Lakes for that Monday.
Well, you know what? I can handle the show. I could have Eddie as a guest. I can bring in a couple guests. I'll tell you what, you should just enjoy the time with your family. And I mean, if you can hop on for like 15, 20 minutes, then that'd be perfect. But I got it, man. I want you to enjoy your road trip. I want you to not have to stress about anything like that. So Eddie will be my Indian cowboy who can step in at times and help co-host. So, but I do want you to have a good time and not have to worry about any of the stresses about the shit that we go through before the show and after the show.
Nah, man, it'll be all right. I could jump on. We can just. I'll be by a fireplace, sipping a totty, doing something. I'll have maybe a cigar or something, in a row.
Well, I guess it'll be like 9 p.m. over there. So.
Oh yeah, it'd be another hour. Yeah, it'd be all right.
Yeah, you're an old man. It's gonna be tough. You sure you can stay up that late?
Oh, get out of here, dude! I just turned 40. Get out.
You're over the hill, man. You're just.
It's all downhill from here now, huh?
Yeah, that's what they keep saying, but it is what it is. All right, you guys. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm not exactly sure what time Wednesday. It should be. It's either it. You know what? I'll give an update because our times are changing on Wednesdays. It's either going to be 4 p.m. or 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. More than likely 4 p.m. So that way we can kind of work with the Old State Saloon, because he is started on the Patriots Prayer Network. Mark Fitzgerald at the Old State Saloon, which I am very, very stoked for, and I want him to succeed as much. I want to get his voice as out there as much as I can. I think he runs a great show. I think he has a great bar, and I would really want them to succeed. So we're gonna have to make some changes in our time to allow for that, because obviously this is the Patriots Pro Network. Steve and I are a great part of this, and it's a journey of a bunch of Patriots all together. So thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. God bless you. God bless America. Steve, is there anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Man, brother, I'm not sure, to be quite honest. Man, you guys have a great night. You guys have been like really awesome, especially guys in the chats that are here twice a week, just consistent. I appreciate you, Jaron. Truth Patrol, also known as Thaddeus, and Cyber Chick is a new addition. It's given a lot of comments. We appreciate you guys very much, and I mean, this is episode 16, and hopefully we'll be at 16,000 here in like 5 years. But we appreciate all you guys.
Yeah, we'll get there. And I mean, it'll take time, but you know, we're starting to get there. So Cyberchick, thank you for tuning in. Jaron, everybody, we're out of here. Good night. God bless you. God bless America. Please love your family, love your children, love your moms. Give them a call. Tell them you love them. Take care, you guys. God bless.
Peace.
Dusty plains and broken dreams, Cowboys and Indians on the same team. We got no masters, only our creed to break the chains and set us free. Riders on the prairie, wild and free, bows and arrows, cold 45s decree. No more tyranny, no more lies. Under open skies we rise. Fight, fight, fight till we reclaim the night. Cowboys and Indians in the blazing light. Fight, fight, fight till the dawn is near. We'll never live in fear. On the blood moon, we all unite. Horses thunder in the night. No longer slaves to the empire's might. Strength in numbers, strength in rise. On the blood moon, we unite. Horses thunder in the night.